great to be here. We've had a very long relationship with Cavell and was extremely happy when they finally came to Australia. We've been to a lot of their global events and we said it'd be great for our market down here. I think a lot of our team said after last year it was the first great telco-specific event that we've had in Australia since the old Broadworks connection events. So I kind of ask people to come on the journey as we go through this presentation. A lot of you guys are going to hate us at the beginning, maybe agree with us midway through, and then hopefully by the end agree with it. If not, over a beer this afternoon, you can come and tell me why we've lost the plot. But question we see as we work with traditionally tier one carriers through the APAC and global region is, and the question we get involved in as we're transitioning voice to the new era with new technology is, when did you last provision a DID and feel good about the margin? What we're seeing a lot of customers is voice isn't dying, voice is just transitioning, and there's a lot of legacy infrastructure that you're having to run at a cost. And that margin's dropping as we transform to an OTT world. So how do we transform our businesses to keep up that ARPU with our growing customer base? Technology's a bit interesting. So the DID isn't dying. I think everyone's presented that today. Like when we talk about voice isn't dying. Voice is how as humans we connect. But when we look at how voice is delivered, through our networks, through our global networks, through our carrier networks, that is transitioning. Voice minutes are still increasing, but as we look at the traditional carrier and infrastructure-based network, those minutes are dying. And as that revenue keeps drawing down, and as the data network sees increasing, as we start running AI and cloud-based services, as that revenue goes, the voice revenue is starting to shrink. So how do we continue to grow that ARPU and keep our customers happy and servicing our customers moving forward? So whenever you start a presentation, always like to start with a great quote. So disruption isn't cyclical, it's an operation reality. Does anyone know who made this quote? It's a very famous person here today. Our great friend, Matt Townsend. So interestingly, in doing research for this, is I was trying to find a great comment. This was actually Matt's keynote presentation at Cavell last year in the UK. And I think you did the same one down here. So as we look at our business and how telephony and voice over the years have transitioned, we've gone through these years of, as technology cycles have changed, the quickness of that technology change is happening, and we need to be faster adopting to those changes. Like we're talking the other day around our offices, and we've got people now working for us that don't remember technology we did. We had to do an old frame cable the other day, and half our team looked at me when I go a C-bar connector, and everyone looked at me, and I'm like, you know, the old thing, I had to go through an old school tech guy to go, I need you to make me one of these cables. So as technology changes, we've got people in our industry that don't know anything about the legacy technology that we've been running for 40, 50 years. So empires were built in DIDs and minutes. The traditional carrier in the good old days, when we looked 10 years ago, we built our markets on DIDs and minutes. It was defendable. It was the old SaaS business. It was the recurring revenue that you could bank on day in, day out. But as we're seeing that transition through, that business model is starting to change. So we've been running that for ages, but as the app market has claimed, as we're moving into an OTT, a UCaaS, and AI, how those minutes are transformed isn't through our traditional carrier networks. And as a tier one carriers, we need to be looking at how we can service our customers better. And I think some of the research was interesting to see in the presentations earlier, that people want to buy from their carrier. They want their carrier to deliver those services as they transform to the new market. Not just me, it was interesting to actually go and find the stats around where this comes from. Obviously, we worked with Cavell quite heavily, but we've found some other research that wasn't interesting to us, is that if you look at more than 60% of the international calls are now OTT. So where we traditionally used to make, I know many carriers made a lot of money in international calling cards was a massive big business, has died and disappeared. That's all OTT. And as we all deal in global markets, we know if you deal in Asia, if you send them an email or call them, they don't answer, but send them a WhatsApp and they'll answer in 2 seconds flat. It's just that the way how business has gone. And making that call, that number hasn't transitioned any carrier's network. It's been a person-to-person call. voice revenue, ARPU of our traditional carriers a decade ago, 50% of that ARPU value of a customer came from dialing minutes. Today, I'd say that's probably 50% from data now is what is actually driving that ARPU. But it's a commoditized. We're racing to the bottom of the barrel. You see the deals in the market sign up contracts on voice services. Remember the good old days where we used to do 60-month contracts? Good luck signing a customer on a 60-month voice contract these days. You're lucky to sign a 12-month contract. Is they want month to month, they want flexibility to migrate to the provider who's going to deliver them the services they need. This was interesting. I don't know if I agree with this figure, but hey, I'm not a market research guy, so obviously someone's crunched the number. That on average, over the last 5 years, annualized revenue has dropped for Australian carriers. Now, I don't know quite specifically how they took that. There's been a lot of acquisition in our marketplace in that tier 1 space, so it's a hard figure to actually crotch down. But the interesting one, we all argue that yes, fixed line revenue's dying, that fixed line minutes is down because everyone's on mobile devices now. But actually, there's a 45% drop in revenue. And when I dug into this figure, it's actually on the carrier network. That revenue has transitioned to OTT calls. So now on the mobile device, there's some people that just have a data SIM. They don't have a mobile number anymore, or they do, but it's linked into a UCaaS platform. They're making those OTT calls. So the biggest thing is OTT didn't steal your customer just chose to leave. We're seeing customers now drive that conversation, where traditionally carriers controlled every communication call. Every call that went through this country was all driven by carriers in this room, and that's transition. One of the biggest things we see in UCaaS is that the big players are pitching directly to the customer now. They're selling those sales. So they're still selling the voice dream, the communication. We see Microsoft talking about AI agents and stuff, that all they can be federated straight off your website. People don't need to transition the traditional carrier network. So as we look at that, the carrier is becoming optional now. So how do we still stay relevant? I hit the magic button. So carriers are still selling infrastructure. Now, I will preface this. We look at a very global market. So in Australia, a lot of our carriers, as we said, we're cloud focused. We're highly adopters of technology. We've got more UCaaS deployed endpoints in ANZ than most of the world combined. But as we look outside those markets, as we look through the APAC and ASEAN region, that a lot of the carriers are still in that traditional infrastructure. We saw ULab talking about the compliance and regulatory issues through Asia and how they're still trying to catch up to make that flexible way of doing business. But carriers who are still selling infrastructure, but customers want outcomes now. They want solutions. Customers don't come to us and go, I want a SIP trunk. I want collaboration. I want my staff to be able to communicate with everyone. I want compliance. I want analytics. I want reporting. I want security. That they want that value-added solution, and they want one person to handle that for them. So the DID business is still there, but it's a delivery mechanism. It's not the solution anymore. Customers want outcomes, and as the OTT world grows, as carriers, we need to be working with them to take those solutions to grow our business. As we look at what carriers have tried, there's the protect view of going, oh, we'll just bundle more, we'll cut pricing, we'll give them a cheap point. This is where our market's been going the last few years, and it commoditizes everything. It's raced to the bottom of the barrel that you basically give it away for free. Wholesale, we'll go and deliver the services to the big infrastructures, the Zooms, the Microsoft of the world need those minutes. There's a business model there. There's a wholesale. We all run wholesale business and it's play there. But if we look at the numbers, wholesale numbers are dying. Actually, in the first one, I actually took some global figures that even as we see in Europe, which some would argue is still a compliance and regulatory thing, the fixed line voice dropped 20% in a single year. Or we clone. We've seen there's a lot of vendors have tried to build their own offering and wrap that in. But as a great old thing, you can't outsell Microsoft. With an $8 billion budget, I don't think there's many carriers who can outsell Microsoft currently. So is it doom or gloom? It's not wonderful opportunity. The revenue isn't gone. It's just where the revenue comes from gone. We've gone from the infrastructure layer to the solution layer. This isn't anything anyone's been pitching before, but we really see now is the time where carriers really need to jump in and transform the product offering that they're taking to the market, is actually delivering value to the customers. The customers, they have great relationships. So how do they overlay solutions to solve the problem that customers are facing? So global markets hits, we've all seen about this, whether you look at Zoom, Cisco, Microsoft, millions of numbers that enabling on their UCaaS platforms, or 8x8 or RingCentral who are here. But we see the opportunity is still there. So in Australia alone, one of the big carriers, big tier ones last year, had a 19% revenue growth in UCaaS. So there's still money to be made there. But as we look at where's that money coming from? So it's coming around taking away from purely delivering a service to delivering the value added on top of that. How are we delivering voice management solutions? So how do we integrate that to deliver solutions rather than deliver the voice? I think we've just heard about the contact center and compliance business. How do we deliver that? Where the telco industry has been delivering that for the last 40 years. How do we deliver that on top of the UCaaS vendors? Analytics and AI becomes the bolt-on that everyone wants. That's the journey to start doing agentic AI agents within the business, is analyzing customers' voice traffic and helping them to understand how customers are contacting them, what their customers are contacting, and how they can serve their customers better. And obviously the last one we throw in there is modern work. We say, especially in every market research you say you read globally or talks about the SMB and SME market. It's the greatest market to hit. We know it's the biggest market segment in Australia by far. So how do you deliver those services to help the customers deliver the full value from what they're buying? It's not just about delivering Teams calling or WebEx calling. It's like, how do you help integrate that to their business processes? How do you connect that to their CRM? How do you deliver them an agent to help them serve their customers? So how do you bundle all that together as a carrier to really grow that customer portfolio? 3 questions we kind of put together that we work through with most carriers is, over the next 5 years, where do you see that revenue? As we're seeing voice traffic die from a revenue perspective, whether that's dying minutes or regulators changing into carrier pricing that's reducing margins. How do we keep changing that? Where do we see that coming from? Building relationships. We said carriers aren't going to deliver this overnight. They need to be exploring the partner ecosystem. There's a ton of partners here in Leon's presentation. Even Microsoft sees that. Business is done by partners. That's how they serve end users. They deliver a platform for partners to help go out there. So us within the telco industry, we need to be working with carriers and helping them deliver those solutions to take to market. And the final question is the simplest one, is why do customers come to you? Why don't they get it from somewhere else? If we're seeing the voice minute, traditionally they had to buy from carriers to get that voice minute. That decision's not there. They could go to an IT company that will sell them a solution and then bundle in a data service. So the revenue of that isn't there anymore. So how, as a carrier, are you going to compete moving forward? Just in closing, Digital isn't dead. We've all seen voice traffic going. How that voice traffic is delivered is changing. So from a carrier perspective, obviously there's a lot of partners in here already delivering AI services, the full stack around it. That's changing, but our dependency needs to change. The carrier who wins next won't be who held the PSTN. You'll be the ones who understand what the customer was. You've got great relationships. You've been that trusted advisor for many years. How do you continue to deliver that before customers make a decision and go elsewhere? One final quote. I know I am the one between all of you guys and lunch. I don't want to be the one that runs late, but a final comment we always use: to improve is to change, and to be perfect is change often. The old Winston Churchill. So thank you very much for listening. If anyone's got any points or want to discuss it or dispute, we're more than happy to. Thank you.